Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel. I have recently received an old order that took a while to arrive and I have already forgotten about it, but I am unboxing it now and I will test it on camera. Here is the invoice for it, and the reason it took so long to be delivered was that it came all the way from Malaysia. And I think I remember even canceling this order, but the seller canceled my cancellation because they have already shipped it. But the system did not reflect that update, so the button to cancel was still active on my end. Anyway, I have used this nib before and I liked it, so I thought, okay, I'll keep it. Now this wooden nib is the reason why I canceled, because like I said in my previous video about the Tachikawa plastic nib holder, the wooden nib holders deteriorate faster over time, and the metal slot tends to rust faster as well, even faster than the rusting of the nib itself. After I placed in my order for this, I discovered the plastic nib holder and canceled this because I wanted to reorder but only with the nib. But turns out I couldn't cancel anymore, but that's okay. So here's a little instruction card on how to care for the nib and how to prime the nib. It says to dip the nib in hot water for 4 seconds and then dip it for a few seconds in cold water, and then hot water and then cold water over and over a few times. And that's all you have to do to prime the nib. Now, see, this nib does not even fit neatly into the nib holder. It's a struggle to get it in, and this nib holder is supposed to be Brause branded as well. So anyway, let me just use this plastic Tachikawa nib holder instead. I unboxed it in a previous video, which I will link down below. And this nib slots just fine into the Tachikawa. As for the Zebra G nib that I have already tried out, I can keep it temporarily in this empty vial so I won't lose it. This is another way to store nibs, but because these vials are airtight and watertight, just make sure that the nibs are completely dry before storing them here because the moisture that's trapped in might cause rust. As for the wooden nib holder, I don't really know what to do with it. So I went to the kitchen and did that hot water, cold water dip several times. And now I'm just taking out a sheet of Bovania Splendor Gel paper, 115 GSM, from my Life notebook because that's what I want to use to test out the nib. And while I was looking through my sample vials for an ink that I want to use, and I want to use Troublemaker Copper Patina, I saw that the Robert Oster Clear Water Rain spilled into the zippy bag that contains all of my sample ink vials because I did not close this cap correctly. When I found this vial, it wasn't on straight. It was kind of like this. It was crooked, so my mistake. I did like the name of this ink. Clear Water Rain is a beautiful name. But it was a good thing I've already swatched it, and I will link two videos down below where I swatched this particular ink. So let's open up Copper Patina to test out the Brause Blue Pumpkin. And it's really just a matter of dipping the nib into the ink so that the nib is coated with ink and the hole in the middle of the nib carries ink. And then you just go ahead and write as you normally would, or as I normally would. This is just my normal handwriting, which is all I can do with any pen. I don't do any fancy calligraphy. But I do have a friend. Her name is Lorraine Marie, and she has a channel on YouTube. And all of her YouTube videos are about her calligraphy. It's so beautiful. I will link her channel down below. I suggest you go watch her videos and also subscribe to her channel as well. As with all nibs like dip nibs or fountain pen nibs, you need to find the right angle to find the sweet spot that will get you the most solid line that you prefer. I prefer a wet line because I want to see shading. And this copper patina ink we are using here is a shimmer ink, and more ink carries more shimmer, so I am always making an effort to lay down as wet a line as I possibly can. You can bear down on the paper with the nib, because this is a soft nib, but you don't really need to do that. But I do like this nib a lot. I used to have one, but I threw it away when it rusted over time. I used it to swatch all of my inks a few years ago, and I will link that video in the description box. And here is a final close-up of the handwriting samples. As you can see, there are some lines where the shimmer is clearly visible and it looks so pretty. You can, of course, achieve the same shimmer effect with a fountain pen that writes very, very wet. And to prepare the nib for storage, I'm just going to spray it with this spray bottle of distilled water. The instruction says that you can wash the nib with soap and water before leaving it out to dry completely, but I think this spraying it with water will do for now. It's still quite difficult for me to keep getting in and out of my chair and even in and out of my room. I'm still quite sick, but as long as the nib is completely clean and completely dry, it will be okay. And by the way, Blue Pumpkin is just the nickname of this well-loved, very popular nib because it's rounded and a little fat like a pumpkin and it's blue. But the actual name is the Brause 361, which is debossed on the surface of the nib, as you can see here. At least I hope you can see it. It's not easy to show on camera. So if you want to search for this nib to buy it, look for Brause 361 if the words blue pumpkin doesn't work for you. And that is my little video for you today. Thanks for watching. Bye.